What could it be?
Snow Globe Records presents
Here it comes.
the sophomore album
That means second.
from Space Monkey Mafia. Their new album, Banned in California, hits all streaming platforms on May 6th. Final release in late 2022. You are listening to their song, Stand Tall. Space Monkey Mafia will be touring through the Northwest starting April 29th. Go to monkeymafia.space for more info. Please follow on Instagram at Snow Globe Records and at Space Monkey Mafia. Space Monkey Mafia, Banned in California on Snow Globe Records.
Yeah, get into it.
Let's do it.
If you would like to advertise with us, email us at indifferenceofska@gmail.com.
In the mid-90s, only a handful of ska bands actually signed to a major label. One of them, Mojo Records, had Real Big Fish, Goldfinger, and Cherry Poppin' Daddies, who were known for their swing songs but also played ska. There was a fourth lesser-known band on Mojo called the Pilfers, who were led by former Toasters lead singer Coolie Ranx and created an interesting blend of ska, rock, dancehall, punk, dub, and hardcore. Coolie called it raggacore, an interesting style that's held up well decades later. In fact, he's just released his debut solo raggacore record called Days Gone By.
Aaron, did you listen to the Pilfers much back in the day?
Yeah, I listened to them back in the day. They were a solid band.
I gotta admit, the Pilfers were one that I missed, and I've gone back recently, and I really dig it.
I don't think it hit me at the time how original it was, though. I think that's the thing. Like, I think I heard it as ska punk, but there's so many elements going on in those records.
Yeah, it doesn't hit me the same way that most ska punk from that era does. Rhythmically, it's a lot different. Sounds more in line with a lot of the bands in the UK. I really wish that there were more bands that were playing that style of ska punk back in the day.
Yeah, or as he calls it, raggacore.
Raggacore.
Yes, we need a raggacore revival. Wasn't your name given to you when you were younger as like a nickname?
Yeah, street stuff though.
What was the meaning of it when it was given to you as a nickname?
Well, first, Coolie was just like because I was a cool dude, I wasn't a troublemaker. But then you had the other part of my name, which is Ranx. That's like a gangster. You know what I mean? Like that's basically saying, yeah, that's a gangster right there. And so he's a cool gangster.
So you were like a laid back guy, but you were a gangster.
Exactly. But definitely capable of defending myself. I wasn't a troublemaker. None of those type of titles was. Well, maybe some people might say I was a troublemaker, but I won't say I carried that throughout life. Definitely not. That stopped at a very young age too. So I was no longer a troublemaker, but definitely.
What sort of trouble were you getting into as a kid?
Do you really want to know?
Yeah, I do, because I was a troublemaker kid, so I want to know too.
Oh, well, you wasn't a troublemaker like me. I was an extortionist. I used to extort the kids on the block.
Oh, okay.
How about that?
That's pretty bad.
Get some Kool-Aid, bro. I'm ready. If you want to sip on this tea is toxic. I came from England, and even before I even knew that I had any problems with getting a job. That's before that. This is like when I was like 12 and 13. The kids used to pack bags, and I found out that they used to make like $35 a day, which was like crazy money when you was a child.
Oh yeah.
And so I had a partner, me and my best friend. We would like extort these kids, and all of them. They would pack their bags, and on Saturdays when we made most of the money. So we were there to collect our chips and our fees.
How much of a cut were you taking?
I would just take like $15.
Oh, okay.
It's a good amount for myself.
Yeah.
Go out and buy some kicks or something, whatever. But it got to the point where it was no longer a robbery. It was protection money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I would protect the kids now. So I was no longer like I changed. My role changed. It wasn't like I was robbing. I was providing a service.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and believe me, I earned it because there were other people with the same intentions like myself.
So yeah, I see where you got your nickname.
Yeah, and and they would come on the block and into our neighborhood from out of different neighborhoods to rob the kids on Saturdays. So I would get like and my house was right down the block from the supermarket. You turn the corner, then there was the supermarket, and I would get one kid who escaped the holdup. He'd run and come get me to defend the Packers. So I became that guy. It could have been a teamster. So I would go there and fight these guys and just make them not come back around our neighborhood again. So my neighborhood was protected.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. That's the name of my new single. I kid you not, but it's in a totally different song. Totally different song. But the song is called Incredible.
So we had a Sonic Boom 6 on the podcast last year.
Yes.
Yeah, we talked a bit about your different times you collaborated with them. So I'd love to get your side of this.
Okay.
Do you remember the first time you met them?
All right. So their manager is a very good friend of mine, and he was bringing me over to England to perform, and he wanted me to do a Pilfers type of a show. So they were my backing band at the time. I can't even remember what year that was, but so I was introduced to them playing music as my backup band, and I was pretty worried at the time because I was like, we didn't rehearse. How these guys know my songs? And they were spot on. They had it down pat. And I was like, whoa, yeah. And I think I was talking to Barney too. Barney put me at ease too, because he gave me the vibe. He gave me the yard vibe because he knew certain things. And I was like, all right, cool, yeah, man.
Like what?
I mean the lingo. You see, there's a certain lingo that falls with where I come from, right? There's a lingo, and he knew the lingo. I was like, good, all right, this brother, yeah, all right. From he knew what was going on, I knew everyone around him would catch it if they didn't know it already. But he had the lingo. He knew the lingo for reggae and dancehall and Jamaican culture. He knew the lingo. So I was like, yeah, man, definitely.
Gotcha.
Definitely. I'm safe right here. Because you don't know what you might have walked into the classical room as opposed to the ragga room. I need the ragga room. Oh, sorry. Let me go down the hall there. Let me go down the hall. I want to knock on the right door, man. The ragga room.
You did like a Pilfer set, or was it a mix of original, like solo stuff?
Yeah, it was a Pilfer set, and we did it. We did it. Totally did it.
So then, on their first full length, you were on the song "All In."
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about how that came together. And
it's Liam again. I was reluctant to do anything. My first answer normally is no, right? So I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like no, and then Liam was like, come on, man. So I don't think I even knew them at this point. I could have known them, but I'm not sure. And I was always in a funk somewhere, especially during this time. I had my house and it was all crazy. So I'm like, no. And Liam's like, come on, man. And he knows I can't say no to Liam. I'm like, all right, send me the track. So I hadn't even heard the track yet. I didn't even know what it was about. And I was like, oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3. Found it. I was like, yeah. Again, because Barney and I's world are very similar, even though he's in London. He's on the vibe, man. You know what I mean? They're on the vibe. So it was great.
Yeah, that song's one of my favorite Sonic Boom 6 songs. It's just there's just a cool vibe to it, and I love listening to all three. You, Barney, and Layla kind of trade off.
Yeah, man.
With the vocals, it just works really well.
It does, man. I love that song. I was like, oh, and then when I was listening to it, I just got transported. Sorry, hey, I'm going with my British accent. I got transported back to England. As soon as I heard it, I was like, oh yeah. Mind the gap. That's a straight English thing. As soon as you get on the tube, you're like, they're telling you, mind the gap. Mind the gap. So I was just like, yeah, man, mind the gap. Yeah, man. That's what it was just in my head. I was transported right back to England.
That Pilfers album from '98. I mean, I feel like totally. It sounds so much like the UK scene, like a few years later. Like all those bands, Cap Down, Howard's Alias, Sonic Boom 6, King Prawn, like all sound like they're carrying the same influences the Pilfers did.
I'm gonna tell you something right now.
Yeah.
I think what happened was everyone was just on the same wavelength at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was Pilfers that did it. I mean, we could say that in America, but when I went to England and I was frequently in England.
Mm-hmm.
And one year I went. We just finished watching Long Beach Dub All Stars in Irving Plaza, and they was playing there. And then I like the next week or the few days after that I went to England, and they were there. I was like, oh. So again, I'm with my friend Liam, and he goes, let's go around and go check them out. So we went in the afternoon while they was doing their sound check, and we was talking, and then he's like, yo, this is Coolie Ranx. I'm like, yeah. I said, I just seen you guys in Irving Plaza like a couple of days ago. He's like, oh yeah, yeah. And he said, yo, when we get on our set, just come through and do throw some lyrics. I'm like, sure, of course. And my intention is always, I want to see the opening band.
Mm-hmm.
And I was late. I missed like 2 bands. I don't know. Anyway, this was, you won't even believe, it's like 15 minutes from my house. Like maybe even 10 minutes from my house. Yeah. Walking. Walking. I could have been there on time to see the bands, but I didn't. And but I got to see King Prawn.
Yeah.
And I was blown. I was losing my mind because I was seeing my band on stage.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, yo, Liam, do you see it? Now, it's very difficult for people that live in England to actually, I mean, I'm going to say the peoples of powers, all right? The powers that be.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens everywhere too. It happens everywhere. As an artist here, me being here, and people being anywhere. So when you're local, as a local artist, people tend to not recognize you in the same esteem as other people do when they come from another country or you go to another country. They witness you as Coolie Ranx. But here I'm just Coolie Ranx. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I went over there and I saw King Prawn. I was like, oh my God, that's my band. I was like, I fell in love with that band immediately. And the steps that I took to meet them and for them to listen to my music was borderline fanatical fan.
Yeah.
So I left London and I came back probably like a month or 2 later, and I met this girl or whatever, and she goes, oh, that band you like is playing tonight. I'm like, oh yeah? Again, it's about 15, maybe 20 minutes from my house. I get there, I probably saw 1 song. I was vexed. But I carried my CD with me this time. And I was like, yo, I like your band, man. Oh, thanks, man. Cheers. All right, cool. I got a CD to give you. Oh, all right, man. I'll play it. I'll play it. All right. And I'm like, yo, man. I want you to make sure you play my CD, man. I want you to listen to my CD, man. I mean, yo, I want you. He goes, all right, mate. I was like, all right. And I go, yo, make sure you play that CD. All right, mate. All right. I'm gonna play it. I was like, got him. Got him. And then I think I left my information on there. My information was probably in the CD. He emailed me, right? And he goes, oh, bro, I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry, man. I said, nah. Trust me, I understood. Because I know what happens when other people give me a CD. It might just get thrown down. I might be, in the mind frame to listen to it. But you got to make some kind of a statement why it's so important to listen to your CD or your music. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I did that. And since that time, listen, I go to England, I chill with them dudes. Like King Prawn is like one of my brothers over there, that whole crew over there. I love those dudes, man.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Because when I heard their sound, I was like, that's me.
Yeah.
I said, that's me right there. I'm like, that's crazy. So yeah, we definitely connected on some vibes. I forced myself upon them.
So, which CD? What was the CD you handed them?
It was the self-titled. It was a self-titled. Yeah, I brought it over to them. I was like, "Yo, listen to this, man. You gotta listen to this." And he was like, "All right, bro."
Do you remember the venues that you saw them at?
Yeah, yeah. I saw them. Uh, the Locks. That's in Camden Town. That's actually that's because I live in that area. That's my area where I'm from.
Okay.
And so I just walked through the canal, and I was like, boom, 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 walk through the canal, walk up walk through the square, and the Lux was right there. So it's nothing. The other place was in Camden Town as well. I can't remember what that was.
Was that one borderline or
It wasn't Underworld. It's not Underworld. It's not Underworld. It's probably Borderline. I'm not sure.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's in Camden.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Do you remember what year that was?
I can tell you it was 19. Well, we already had the first CD, right? So it's either 98, definitely like a 98, 99.
Yeah. Coolie, I was probably at that show.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I played in Link 80 and I think we opened that show.
Oh,
We were in the same spot, dude.
oh wow! Look at that.
Small world.
Small world, brother. We're just separated by a few people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, lots of mutual friends. Scott, I mean, I feel like, punk rock is a small town, and then ska punk is an even smaller town inside of that.
Yeah, Adam was Link 80 during the late 90s and early 2000s. They went to England a lot and played. So he connected with a lot of those bands at that time period.
Oh, wicked, man. That was a bless, man. I was just still hidden. I was still hidden in those times. But we were still kicking up rumpus in New York, though. We was doing our thing in America.
Yeah.
But I'm always, because I'm English, right? So I always go home, and it wouldn't be like strange to see me in London at any given time, not doing a show. I'm just home, and I would do that a lot because my mom was over there. I was always going to go see my mom.
I found it really interesting to like run into people outside of the location you're used to seeing them in. Did you ever run into anybody from New York while you were in London and they're like, "What are you doing here?" And you're like, "Dude, I'm from here."
Yeah, well, that happens all the time. People wonder why the hell I'm in England. Like, what are you doing here? I'm like, dude, well, that's my flat right there. That's my apartment where my mom lives. So yeah, I'm here. I saw Big D one year.
Yeah.
And I went to go see him because I told him I was here. I ran into here's a funny one. I ran into Real Big Fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
I ran into Real Big Fish. They were playing Kentish Town, and I just happened to be in London, and I was like, "Yo, I'm here in London." And I met this guy. He was a aristocrat that lived on my road, young guy, very wealthy. You just knew he was wealthy and shit. I ain't gonna go into the whole story, but he was wealthy and knew it all. He knew it all, and he starts showing me around. And we go and we see oh no, that's another time. I'm sorry. No, the other time we went to O2 and I went down there and I performed with him. I actually got to go on the stage and perform, and I think that was the first time I think that's the first time I saw the guy from the Skins, Josh. I think I saw him there. I know he performed for those guys, but I met Josh in a venue one time, and I was talking, yeah, man, we got to do more for the homegrown. They looked at me like, what's this fucking yank saying? Like, what's this fucking yank saying about the homegrown? I understand the plight. You see, I may not always, speak English full on all the time, but I do speak English. My English is a little bit different from most youths in the hoods of London, because I didn't grow up in the hoods of London. I grew up in a upper place, So it's not as Cockney as everyone else. My wife has the beautiful Cockney accent. I don't, so she makes up for me.
Nice.
she does it full on. I just do it partially.
So before you joined Toasters, you were doing like dance hall music.
I was a raga youth. I was a raga youth, straight down. So I didn't even speak English. How about that?
Yeah.
I did not. I knew how to do it, but I did not speak English. Yeah, it took me. It took me as a surprise when I was on the stage, and I'm like, "You don't know, I big up everybody in my place, and really." Buck was like, "Coolie." I'm like, "What?" He said, "Speak English. They don't understand you." I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Oh, okay, okay." Oh, that was it. That was a light bulb that just clicked. The light switch went on, and I was no longer that Jamaican dude anymore. I was like back to my English self, you know. What a transformation, you know. When I came back around the hood, I'm like, hey guys. I'm like, what? Like, who's this guy? What? Yo, what happened to you?
Your song Roughneck, that kind of was a kind of a local hit, or what was this?
Yeah, it was definitely that was my first, actually that was my second single. The first single I did was like a lovers rock, because I dabble in the singing and the chatting and the rapping. So the first one was You and Me Baby. It was a lovers rock song. I'm singing, I'm singing
Nice.
I did a what do we say, we would call a version, yeah, or interpretation. Yeah, it's more of a version of John Waite. That's it, John Waite. It's John somebody another. It's like something, and I made it into a reggae song. Changed a couple words and gave it to the producer in case he was gonna rob me. I didn't know what was gonna be the outcome of the release of the record.
Yeah.
So I did a cover, so I did a cover song. I normally don't do cover songs, people. So yeah, forgive me.
You didn't want to give him an original though and have him rip you off.
Nah, not right away. I gotta see how the thing goes. And then so I did the Roughneck, right? And that was the first like me rapping, chatting, singing song, and it crossed over onto the American radio stations. So that was when a manager heard me. Well, she was the manager. She owned Irie Jam, Irie Ice, Irie. I think it was Irie Ice, Irie Jam, something that was in. It was a record shop in the village at the time.
Catherine Tobias, is that her name?
That is correct. That is her name.
Yeah.
Her name is, I think it's Irie Ites, right? Is it Irie Ites?
I don't know that one.
Yeah, I think that's the name of her record store. And at that time, any call from Manhattan to Brooklyn was a big deal. It's like the studio got a call. Yo, a manager from Manhattan, man. Them want you, man. Them want you. I'm like, oh, what? Everybody in the studio, everybody that knew about it was hype. So we pack up ourselves. We go down to the city. We go meet her in her record store, and she's like, yeah, she gets to meet me. She gets to meet my producer, because my producer, as it is in the culture, then it's a team. It's like your producer's like your DJ, right? Because he's producing all the music, and you're just the artist, right? So I let him go ahead and handle the business. And in that store, I met a gentleman that is still my friend to this day. Like, we're very close right now. He's one of my best friends, if not my best friend. I have two best friends, but he's definitely up there with arm in arm, left on my right arm. Yeah, and I met him in that record store at that time.
Who's that?
Yeah, his name is Rob Kenny. He's a writer. He's a writer he used to be the editor for Vibe magazine for about 25 years.
Okay.
So, but I met him in the record store as a DJ, spinning music.
Nice.
And that was our relationship. We would go out after all of that. We would go out, partying, and he would spin music. He'd always invite me to the clubs. I'd come to the club with him, and it was just like that, regular. Like, my underground scene in the village is due to hanging out with Robbie.
So what brought you over from the UK to New York?
Oh, well, depending on what day of the week, we're gonna say I was. Yeah, because the story changes with the mood.
Okay, so today's Monday. So what's the story today?
I was rescued. No, yeah, I was rescued from life in England, or it would be I was kidnapped from England and brought to America because there was times, when I left England, it was against my will.
Okay, so who was rescuing / kidnapping you?
My grandmother.
Oh,
Yeah, she was the head of the household, and she ran totally everything. No one had any talk other than her.
what was her name?
Marion Bedward. That's the Jamaican side of me.
And so Marion wanted to take you to New York for
No. Marion did.
Well, she did.
It wasn't that she.
Not that she wanted to.
Yeah,
she took you to New York. What was the reason though?
The reason was because I'm gonna have to backpedal a little bit.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so in my youth, I was in care, and anyone that's from England knows what care is. Care is like foster homes, right? Foster homes for kids that not even sometimes it's kids that are not wanted or unable to be taken care of by their parent. So I was in care, and so before I even got to care, the government would send out caseworkers to check on the family, see how the kids are doing and everything. But we fell into that slot of being like a poor family and things not absolutely 100% right. So we look up on these kids and make sure they're okay. We take them out, we give them some type of entertainment and so forth like that. So one of the caseworkers had a friend, and the friend was just there to tag along and to help out her friend. So she came along, and she stayed in my life. She stayed in my life. And then when I got into care, I called her to come and get us out of care. I'm probably like 4, 5, 6, something like this. 4, 5, 6. I'm not even exaggerating. I was really young. We called her collect, and she made it happen that she got us out of care, and she became my legal guardian.
Wow.
So at a young age, I was adopted by this woman. She was an angel to me. And that's why you'd always see me go back to England, because I'm always going back. I would always go back to see her. In later on, I used to call her my godmother, but the bond was so deep that she became my mother.
I see.
So I still have my biological mother. My biological mother is alive, but that's who I would say was my mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she became my legal guardian, and taking care of me. And she took me out of London to put me in a better school, right? So we went around. We went to a few schools, and had a choice of schools which I wanted to go to. This boarding school I was going to, because she couldn't actually take care of me every single day, because she worked and she was a student as well. So I would come home on the weekends, but I spent time in Sussex, which is it's like another state. So I would go to boarding school during the week and come home during the weekends. So I was living a very charmed life, as you can imagine. And at that time, where my school was located, one part of the school was a golf course in the front. You would see it like if you went a few miles down or a few blocks, I'm not sure. But one part was a golf course, and the other part behind the school, behind the lodgings, was forest with massive pine trees. It was like, and the school itself was like what you would see on Harry Potter. No jest, no lies. Like that. It was beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful. So sometimes I say rescued, and sometimes I say kidnapped. I say rescued. I say rescued because the life that I could have led in England could have been detrimental. And then I say kidnapped because the life that I was living was fantastic.
Yeah.
So I don't. It could have went any way, and it depends on any time of the day of how I feel, or what really happened, what really transpired. Yeah. But one thing is certain, and that is solid, that she has always been that rock for me.
That's great.
And that I could never, trade that in or deny that. That's always my rock. I'll go further into stories, but yeah, she's always been there for me. Never forgot my birthday, even when I was over here.
Mm.
Yeah. deep. So the reason for being kidnapped or rescued is because my grandmother at the time didn't want me to live with white people.
Oh.
You know, the influence. Yeah, yeah. It was. This is in this. We're talking about the '60s.
Yeah.
So we're talking about, you know, segregation. We're talking about Jim Crow. We're talking about um, COINTEL programs. We're talking about can't drink from that fountain. You know, get the back of the bus.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about all of that. So she was definitely like not for me. And in school, I was the only black kid in school.
Mm-hmm.
So she's seeing the whitewashing going down right now in front of her. So she's like, "Yo, I got to get my grandkids out of that shit." You know what I mean?
Yeah, makes
So
sense.
like, I mean, it makes sense, but it depends on how you look at it and where you were by
Definitely.
yourself at that time. You know, I didn't see, we didn't, I saw racial prejudice when I was a kid at that school, but it only happened one day. So like my first day of school, I went there, and this white guy was picking on me and saying some shit about gollywog or whatever he was saying. But my god sister went to that school too. She's fierce. She ran up. She just happened to be. I don't know how she was there, but she was like tall, lanky, beautiful, blonde hair, strong, and she was like, "Leave my brother alone." And that dude was like shitting on himself. He was like, "Oh!" And I never had any problems again. School was lovely.
That's great.
Yeah, man. I had a very, I mean, when I first went into that school, right? And I'm sorry if I'm dragging on with the school thing because my childhood was beautiful. It was nothing like when I came to America. Landed to America was a whole different game. Um, so there, you know, you go horseback riding. You know, you do all these fun activities. You're learning French. You're learning German. You're playing the recorder. You're playing the violin. You're doing your rhythmy. You're doing all these activities that, you know, God help us in America that the kids should have to
Mhm.
develop themselves. You know what I mean? It's just not, it's not on a local level. You know, that's more like private school or finishing school, or, you know, something to that effect. But when I was in England, that was just boom. That was just my life.
Yeah. So England till what age, and then when did you come to?
Till 8 years old, till eight
Okay.
officially. I returned as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
I returned as an adult because I just got my green card. I'm skipping, but um, my grandmother brought me over here, and she died like maybe 2 years after we got here.
Mm.
So that plan, which she had, was diminished. That was incinerated.
Yeah.
You know. So then we were left here to fend for ourselves without any kind of legal documents because we were here on a holiday. It's pretty simple back then. You could have got your green card, but it didn't happen because of the time factor.
Yeah. So who was your guardian like at that point? Because you're like 10 years old at that point.
Yeah, so at that time, I know I wasn't raised in the wolves. No, at that time, so all right, so let me backpedal a little bit as well too. So the reason for us being in care and all that other stuff, my grandfather, who was um a huge influence on me too, he was Jamaican, huge influence. He left with my other brother and went to Jamaica, then went to America. So when my grandmother died, my grandfather was there.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how we were in New York, and we owned a house. You know, we owned a 4 family house, and we had places to put me.
So where in New York was that house?
That house was in Brooklyn. It was in Brownsville.
Okay.
At the time, it was called East Flatbush, but the zip codes and the zoning laws changed.
Yeah.
So like if you went across the street onto Linden Boulevard, that was Canarsie.
Hmm.
Right? If you went to the left of you, that was Brownsville. Then if you went, I said, yeah, it was like the triangle, Canarsie, Brownsville, Flatbush, and that was all just like if you went around the block.
Like real close together. Everything's just smashed up next to each other.
Yeah, everything was really close together. Yeah.
I feel like any Californian that tries to come to New York and find their way around, it's impossible.
No,
We
you
get
could do
so
it.
lost so fast.
No, you could do it, man. You could do it.
I've been there so many times. I'm always like, where am I?
No, you could do it. You could do it. But the easiest place to be found and to find your place is England.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have all of these great things. Like when I went back to England for the first time, you know, I'm trying to meet these chicks or whatever. I'm trying to hook up where they at. My mom's, I was like, yo, I don't know how to get to this. She says, go get the A to Z. I'm like, what? The A to Z is a book. It's a map. It tells you every street, corner, road, crescent, terrace, everything, and there's maps to get you to wherever you want to go. Wherever you want to go, you never get lost. On the tube, it announces what stop, what line, what are the. America's getting that now because they have the guy that did that in England. Well, sorry, New York is getting that now because we have the guy that did it in England. He's fashioning New York after the tube stations and the tube system in England for us in New York right now. Even down to the Metro cards.
The tube system and the train system in UK is wild because there would be kids, little like 15, 16-year-old kids that would show up at like a string of shows, like many, many miles apart. And it was just because like, they're like, yeah, we just took the train.
Yeah.
No big deal. And I was blown away. We
played, we did like a 13-day tour, 13 country day in 13 countries in 13 days. It was mad. Yeah, it was mad. And there's no time to enjoy. But what I did was I just said, okay, cool. This tour's over. I'm staying. Everybody had to go home. I'm like, yeah, I'm staying. I'm not going. I'm home. Yep. I mean, even when it went down to the hotels and stuff, they just dropped me off at my house. I was like, oh, who lives here? Oh, Coolie lives here. What? Coolie lives here? Yeah, Coolie lives here. Well, see you guys later.
So in New York, when does music come into play? When do you take an interest in performing music?
Performing. I never really wanted to perform. Performance wasn't my thing. I just wanted to do music. I heard a song, and I just wanted to imitate that song.
What song was that?
It was I never know the name of the damn song, but I could sing it. I don't know the name of it.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear it. Go.
Girl, I like your style. I like how you kiss and I like how you caress. I even love the way you rub the air up on my chest. Girl, I love your style. That's it. That's all I can remember. But when I heard that, I was like, yo, that's my song right there. I'm going to do that. And then a DJ part came on. It was like, yo, then I was like, yeah, I want to do that too. So I just learned both of them, man. I learned both parts, you know. I was telling my my godson like 5 minutes ago. His father was my best friend at the time before he got killed. And I was telling him, yo, your father used to call me Coolie Ranx. Because I was whack, right? I just got off the phone with him like not more than 15 minutes ago before starting the podcast. I was like, yeah, your pops used to call me Coolie Ranx. And then one day I kind of duffed from him for a bit, you know. And then I went and I started practicing, and then, you know, I moved to a new place, and he came to the new place, had my sound system out, and I just spit some bars from him. He was like, oh, damn. Oh. I said, yeah, no more Coolie Ranx now, right?
Hey.
Yeah, man. He said, yeah, man, you sound good, man. I was like, cool.
So you kind of have this unexpected twist where Roughneck has success. Catherine is seeking you out as a potential client, but she talks you into auditioning for the Toasters, right? It was from her?
Yeah. She dared me. She totally dared me. She dared me because, you know, with Jamaican music, right? There's a thing when you're on sound system. Let me go to sound system because that's my foundation. So when you're performing on a sound system, you cannot say like, oh, give me that rhythm. Oh, that's my favorite rhythm. It's just like any rhythm. Mm-hmm. That's the motto. Any rhythm. So when any track comes on, you got to be prepared to do that. So that's the same mentality that you do when you're going into the ska thing. And this is how she dared me. She was like, "Well, you said you could do any rhythm." See, that's the braggadocious side of the Jamaican music. Gets you into trouble, you know. Yeah, man, any rhythm, man. I'm telling you, any rhythm, I can do any rhythm. So she was like, "Oh, you said any rhythm? You said any rhythm?" I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, but you said. I said, okay. You got to be a man of your word. You got to stand by your word. So I said, let me listen to it. And I heard it. I was like, God damn, I don't know about this. I was like, I don't know about this. All right, let me see if I can hear some reggae in it. And I think I heard one calypso song. It was getting closer. And then I heard Run Rudy Rum. I was like, okay, yeah, cool. And then I heard Throw Me Up. And I was like, okay, I'm going to learn these songs right here. I hear the reggae in it. So let me go ahead. I did the audition, smashed it. And we were out doing shows not too long after that.
You did a European tour with them, right? That was like what happened. Yeah.
Yes, I did it. But before the European tour, we did some shows. Yeah, I think we were supposed to go to England and we did some shows. But before going to the European tour, we did some local shows.
Ah.
And this was to get me acclimated to what I was going to experience. And God knows I was terrified. I mean, the audience was punk rock, right? And I don't mean pretty punk rock right now.
Yeah.
I mean tug, grimy, multiple colors, and yo, yeah, I'm talking about Lower East Side, New York, brother.
Yeah.
Was not a nice place. And I was like, oh my God. All I could imagine and think about was the movie The Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm like, oh damn, yeah, this is it. I was like, I'm in the Warriors camp right now.
Where were those shows at?
Oh, there was in dingy places on Second Avenue, Avenue B, Avenue C. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we played nicer places after my initiations. But
Yeah, but I want to know about the initiations. Were these like squat shows?
No, they weren't. You see, I don't know what squats were at that time. So
Sure.
they were pretty. It was just frightening for me because first of all, I'm out of my element. I'm out of my comfort zone. Remember, my whole world up until that point was completely black.
Yeah.
So anytime I walk in there, you know, I know what it is. I know how to suss the room. But here I am. I got to do is spikes on their arms, spikes on their belt, spikes on their coat, hair up in mohawks. And it wasn't this, you know, it's not the college bouncy thing that was going on in there. You felt tension in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It wasn't. I mean, I found a 22 gun in there.
Oh, Jesus.
This is not candy, apple, and popcorn. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This was some real rough times in those times. I mean, these dudes was packing. You know what I mean? This is what they had.
Wait, Coolie, where'd you find the gun?
Well, I didn't find it. To be honest, let me give credit where credit is due.
Okay.
The drummer found it. The drummer of the Toasters found it, and he was very pissed off that he found a weapon. Me, on the other hand, I was excited because you know that's I'm from the hood. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I said, where is it? He said, man, he was disgusted. It seemed like it was a tampon or something. He's like, I threw it in it. I threw it in the can. You know, he's like, he threw it in the garbage. I went dumpster diving, man. I found that thing and I brought it back to the hood. I was like, yo, I got this thing right here. He said, how much you want for it? I was like, $70. He said, all right, let me see if we're going to boom. And he said, he shot it right there, right? He just shot it, boom. And I was like, oh shit. And he said, yeah, man, good, man. And he gave me the $70. I was good. Thank you, Toasters.
Incredible.
Yeah, again, the name of my song is coming out on April the 1st.
Incredible. Wait, so let's sidestep really quick. What's the song Incredible about?
Incredible is about us as human beings.
Mm.
If we found the ability to love one another, like truly love one another, and stop all of these barriers that we put and labels on each other that we put, and stop that, we could be incredible.
Mm.
like as a human race, not just one, one saying, "No, I'm this race." I'm just like, as the human race, if we could come together, we could be incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think we could, if we could get to that point.
I think so too. Just people got to stop trying to put up barriers between each other.
It weighs heavy on my heart, so I
Yeah.
write songs like that.
Yeah.
It weighs heavy on me. It's like, damn, if we could we could be incredible.
So you did this tour, and then you stopped being in the Toasters for like 2 years, right?
Yes, I because there was no money in it. Like I just had a son, I just had a kid, and I had responsibilities.
Sure,
Like
yeah.
$25 a show was not making it.
Yeah.
It was like it was like that. And then on top of that, the manager, when I got off the tour, the manager wanted I think he said 25% of my earnings, which was like $5 or something.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what it was, but it was far too much for me to part with. I was like, you know what? This ain't happening. I'm like, no manager, no band, I'm out of this thing. Because the agreement was, I do this tour because you thought I needed stage experience, whatever. I've been doing it for a minute, and then we go back to your dancehall career. I was like, all right, never happened, because I was like, ugh, it's not. I mean, she was a good manager too. I'm not gonna lie. She brought me to an industry party, and I met Red Alert, and I met these are the DJs of the time, Just Eyes from Boogie Down Productions. I mean, she was bringing me into the circle where it's happening. But yeah, I often wonder what would have happened if I didn't join the Toasters.
Yeah, because then you ran into the Toasters drummer's girlfriend, right?
Yep, it's all about that drummer.
Yeah, and she convinced you to go see them play that night.
She didn't really convince me, I pretended.
Oh yeah.
Listen, you can't be so eager, man. You can't show all your cards.
Yeah.
So when I saw her, it was very interesting to find out that the drummer had returned to the band, because he left also at a later date. And he returned, and she said, "Oh, they're playing." I said, "No." She said, "Oh, Jonathan's back in the band." I said, "Oh, Jonathan is? That's great." She said, "Yeah, they're playing in New York. You should go and see them." I said, "Really?" But I had already done my affirmations and my meditations, and I already sussed out when was the happiest time in my life, and that was being in the Toasters, regardless of the money, or the money wasn't there. It's just the fact of doing music and being a musician and being an artist, which I love to do. The money is a product of being an artist or whatever, but the real thing is you just want to be an artist.
Mhm.
You just want to sing and you want to do what you do. So when she said that, I was like, oh, so the affirmation had come right, it manifests right in front of me. So it wasn't really she convinced me. I was like, oh, I pretended as I was, I was not interested,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
my affirmations had just come through, and I was like, wow, look at that. And I went to go see them in this venue, and Buck was at the place was called Canal Club, and Buck was on the stage, and there was a gentleman on the stage doing what I was doing, and Buck's attention was all on me. Buck was just like, "Oh, Coolie, do you remember when we played here? Oh, when we played here." I'm like, "Yeah," and I had one of my street dudes with me, one of my mans with me. He was like, "What's going on with this dude?" I'm like, "Yeah." It wasn't. It wasn't a place where he goes. It's not a club where we go hang out in. But it was the world that I had come from, and I was familiar with the world. So I brought him down and wanted to let him hang out and see something different. So yeah, Buck was there like, "Yo, cool, and then he invited me out, to link up and talk about things. Again, I was praying very hard to get him, reluctant. I don't know, Buck. Yeah, okay. He said, "Yeah, I want to call you. Give me your number." I said, "Yo, Jonathan has my number." He's like, "No, give me your number." I was like, all right, Buck, all right. He said, "Listen, let's do lunch. Let's do lunch sometime this week." Yeah, he said, "Yeah, we can go for a drink. We can meet up at Blanche's." That's where the hot spot where they used to go hang out and drink in the Lower East Side. And I was like, "All right, yeah, all right, I'll come through." Reluctantly, again, I'm pretending. And He says, "Yo, we're doing this tour and da da da." I said, "Nah, Buck. Nope, nope. Sorry, Buck." So you can't. The offer is it. I don't play poker. I've never played the game poker, but I understand the premise. You can't give away what you really have. You're holding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't give away your eagerness to say, "Yeah, I really want to go and tour with you guys," because then your pay would be like $50. Step up from 25. I was like, "Nah, Buck, I'm good." He's like, "Yo, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go here, and we're gonna go to Hawaii." I said, "Hawaii?" Oh, I said, now he's talking my language. He's not talking money yet. He didn't even talk money. He did not talk money at all. He said, "Yeah, we're gonna go to Hawaii." I said, "Hawaii? That sounds nice." Because after being here in America and not being able to travel, right? Traveling is one of my biggest things. I enjoy traveling a lot, just going to different places and seeing the world. And when he said Hawaii, I was like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah!" Fire just lit off. I was like, "That's it, I'm going." And he had no idea I really wanted to be in the band. So now you know, Buck. Now you know.
Okay, so 2 things. 1, your Buck impression, incredible. 2, what happened to the guy that had been doing your part when you weren't there?
Yeah.
Who had to kick him out?
I'm trying to be nice, bro.
All right, we can leave it alone.
It's like you ever see what is it called? Twist Couple? What is it called? The Odd Couple.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You ever see The Odd Couple?
Yeah.
He was asked to leave. That's what happened. Excuse me, bro. I appreciate you. I appreciate you giving up your seat, but he wasn't up. He was upset anyway. I think he wanted to leave as well.
Okay.
I mean, it gets it because he said, because he said to me, he's like, "Yo, brother, you better watch out for this guy."
Mm-hmm.
They wanted me like I don't know what's going on. I'm like, well, I know all of this. I know what's going on.
Yeah.
The thing with being in an established company already, especially you as a front person, you have to be willing to be a soldier.
Mm-hmm.
You may have the personality as a general, but you got to be willing to be a soldier and just follow orders.
Yeah.
And then the outfit works. But if you have tendencies of being a general and you feel like your command is not as you would do it, then you should leave and go start something on your own.
Mm-hmm.
But don't go into an establishment with your general mentality. Just go in there with some humble pie and just do what you do.
And just be a soldier.
Yeah, man, just be a soldier.
Pretty early on in you joining the band, was that the Skavoovee tour?
That was the Skavoovee tour.
Okay, so this is Special Beat, The Selector,
yep,
Toasters, obviously,
all the heavy hitters,
Skatalites, yeah, and
and Meth was on some shows in New York.
Yeah, and a lot of bigger rooms too, right?
Yeah, big rooms, dude. I'm gonna say it was the biggest tour that I had organized tour that I had been on.
Yeah,
because they had buses. we weren't in our Ford 350 driving.
Yeah.
we had bunks to sleep on overnight as we were doing. It was fabulous.
So that must have been pretty validating to you that you made the right decision.
No. It wasn't. I didn't need validation. I'll be honest with you. It wasn't about validation for me. Again, let me see how I can say it. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you a story.
Okay.
It's pre Toasters. Before I joined the Toasters, this is in the same year, I went to England and I performed with my heroes. I performed with a sound system, to me, that was the greatest in the world. And to a lot of my friends was the greatest in the world. And I had been the Saxon sound system.
Yeah, the Saxon sound system. Yeah.
I've been listening I was listening to them since I was in high school. Right. And my wife brought them to my house. And, I used to have this big head. Not that it's that much bigger now, but I had a bigger head when I was a kid, right? And I thought I was the best in the world because I would listen to all these lyrics and what I was doing. I was like, yeah, I'm great. But I was still in my Jamaican mode. Everything about me was Jamaican at that time. And that was my mindset. And I was just doing it. I thought I was doing it better than them. My wife comes to my house and, she wasn't my wife at the time. She was just my girlfriend. And, well, she'll say friend. She won't say girlfriend, but I'll say girlfriend. And these are the complications. I mean, she even wrote down in my yearbook, yeah, I know you like me and you wanted it to be more, but it's not. I'm like, goddamn, like, you want to show off your damn yearbook and that's what you get. Anyway, another story. And so she brings out this cassette of what's going on in England. As I said, I met my wife at 14 and she came over for a holiday. She went back. And when she did come back, she brought this music with her, right? And she brought the MCs that was going on in England. I didn't even know England was listening to reggae music like that because I didn't know what England was like. I hadn't even been on a plane. I was still here in America. No connection to England, but my mom, and I couldn't go back at that time.
Who were the MCs that she was showing you at the time?
She showed me Tipper Irie, Daddy Rusty, Papa Levi, Senior Sandy. Who else did I got? Asha Sanita, Smiley Culture. Yeah, these were the guys at the time. Those were the MCs that I knew about at that time. And these guys, they were articulate. Their vocabulary was crazy. I was like, oh my God, I'm not even trying because I was still saying nursery rhymes. I was like, I am definitely not the best. I was humbled. Like, seriously. So, after hearing them, I made it my point to step up my vocab and to write better lyrics and to be original, because that's one thing that these guys stress. They was always original. Everything they did was from them. It wasn't something that you heard before. It's all fresh. All of the MCs had their own style, and at any given time, it just switched up to something else, and it was just unique. Best in the world. MCs and the music that they played, best in the world, hands down. So before meeting the Toasters, I actually got to sing with these dudes. I had just left England when I met the Toasters, and came back to England in a different one. So January, it was January the 1st, I believe. I was singing on that sound system, and my dreams had been met. So I was good. I could have died and been happy.
Yeah, I see.
So when coming back and doing all these Special B and Scat, I didn't even know who these guys were. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know who these guys were. I knew Selector because of my girlfriend. My girlfriend at the time, she told me about Selector, and I heard she played their music for me. I was like, damn. I mean, this is after the tour was announced that we're doing it, and she found out that I was playing it, and she played me their music. I was like, oh my God, she's bad. I heard on my radio.
Yeah.
On my radio. I was like, on my radio. I was like, oh my God, this is fire.
You didn't know Skatalites though?
That's wild.
I know, slap me 5 times. Because that wasn't my world. That wasn't my world. My world was all dancehall and reggae music. I mean, that was my thing. Sound system. I tell you, do you know Stereograph? You know Stereograph? You know Jalove? You know Tika music? No, right?
Nah.
All right, there and there you go. I'm just saying that my whole world was sound system. So going on the tour, the Skavoovee tour, it was like, I was more excited to go to Hawaii.
Sure, yeah.
So I didn't know who all these guys were. I met Neville. I met Neville Staples on that tour.
Yeah.
And he and I was just cool because he was Jamaican.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I went to visit Neville. I went to England. I was in England one time, and I went to go visit Neville. And I always hear people, like fanning over the specials and everything. I never really got it, I never got it because I didn't know. Again, it's not my world. I went to see Neville, and the first place he took me was this museum, and it was about him. I was like, oh my God, you got your own museum? I was like, yo, what? I was like, yo, never. Because I'm sure he didn't grasp. I mean, I'm sure he grasped that I didn't understand who he was. You know what I mean? I was like, and I really did not. I swear, I did. I had no idea. No idea this dude was a real icon living. You know what I mean? I was like,
Sure.
yo, this is crazy. He come to my house too. You know what I'm saying? And chill at my house. I'm like, this is crazy. I was like, yo, you got your own museum?
I want to move forward just a little bit. You're in the
Sure.
Toasters for a couple years. You're on, I think you're on Dub 56 and Hard
Yeah.
Band for Dead, right? Those are the 2 studio albums you're on.
Yes. Those are the two studio albums. Yeah.
What leads to your decision to start the Pilfers? Which, if I'm understanding right, it was a collaboration or vision between you and Vinnie Noble.
Well, here's how it really happened. There was crazy stuff happening in that band at that time. We ska was on. It was so hot.
Yeah,
So hot. And you remember I told you I used to have a big head, right?
sure.
Right. My ego was huge. But after meeting those guys in England, who I told you I idolized these guys, and they was the best in the world. They were so humble. They were like lambs. And I just witnessed their attitude and how they really was acting. And I was like, oh my God, I have no right. I have no right to be an asshole and think I'm the shit. I have no right. My ego was deflated. I threw it away. I let it go, and I didn't bring it back.
Mm.
So here I am with the Toasters, and everything's going great. There's a lot of hype around us, and we're selling out shows and all of this stuff. Still, no ego, because I told you I was hanging out here with these real people who are stars in my world, and they're just like humble lions, humble guys, humble cats. So I couldn't be that person anymore, and I couldn't stomach the egos. So there was a lot of ego things going on, and even when you're talking to people, I'm like, yo, dude, just chill, man, just chill, just take it easy. And then they're not hearing that; they're just basking in the glory. You know what I mean? They're basking in the fame.
Yeah.
I had to depart, man. It was that and other financial things too. Financial things is going on. My nieces and my nephews, they ran away and they came to stay with Uncle Coolie. And I'm like, damn, Uncle Coolie only lives in a studio, junior 1-bedroom. I can't really facilitate this demand here. I gotta make some more money. So we had spoken about a raise in it. And in that day, I mean, I think he just bought some $1 million home and this and that, a new car and all of this stuff. And I was like, yo, I just need a raise. And it wasn't forthcoming, I'm like, I really didn't need it. I really needed it. But so I said, you know what, Buck, I'm leaving. And normally I've kicked up rumpus before, like, I'm leaving, I'm out of here. And then, something happens and I just wouldn't leave. But this time I was calm. I was like, yo, Buck, I'm out of here. No fuss, no big screaming and everything. Yo, Buck, this is my last show. And that's it. So I left the Toasters, and when I left, I got a lot of calls from friends, and one of the calls definitely put me on a path to start a band, and that was Steve Jackson from the Pie Tasters. He's like, I was there depressed, thinking I need to call Buck. Like, yo, Buck, I made a mistake. Because the fear sets in. You don't know how to deal with the unknown. And I'm like, oh my God, I think I need to call Buck. So I get a call from Steve, and Steve just lit a fire under my ass. I was like, yo, Steve, I don't know what I'm gonna do, man. He's like, what? You know what you're gonna do? You're gonna start a fucking band. That's what you're gonna do. I was like, start a band? I was like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. He amped me up to the point that I thought I could start a band. So I went running around, paying musicians who were not even ska musicians They had no clue what ska was. I said, "Yo, do you know what ska is?" He goes, "Yeah, I know how to play it." I bring this dude and he starts playing some disco beat. I'm like, "Yo, that's not ska. That's not ska, man." This time he already took my money, right? He took my money. I was paying for rehearsals, not just the space, right? Like the individuals. You come in, you get $50. You know what I mean? You're just getting paid. But I thought that's how you did it. What did I know? I was like, "Yo, Steve, man, this thing is too expensive, man. I can't afford to keep on paying these dudes, man." He said, "What?" He said, "You're paying them?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm paying them for." He says, "You don't pay them, man. What's wrong with you? You're Coolie Ranx." Like that meant something. I was like, "Does that mean something?" He says, "No, you don't pay them, man. You don't pay them. You pay for the rehearsals, but you don't pay them." I was like, "All right, all right, all right." So that stopped, and then I had to get myself organized. I really wasn't organized. I wanted to do something, but I really wasn't organized. And as divine intervention happens, I met this young lady, and she told me how to set up my contacts in my phone, rather than just oh, this is Aaron on the phone. Oh, well, this is Aaron from the Defense of Ska. So you have a title. I know exactly what you do.
Yeah.
As opposed to I've had my file effects and I had all these names, but I never had what they do. They were just my friends. So then she told me to go into your file effects and put what everyone does in there. Then you have access to what you need right in your phone book. I was like, holy crap. She's amazing. I was like, oh wow, that's it may be common knowledge to everyone else, but that was just like a revelation to me.
Sure.
And so then that's what I did, and I just started making phone calls. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I started. She actually got me James, my drummer. She said because she was also an artist. She said she auditioned him, but it wasn't for her. But the thing was, she's a soul singer.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, James could play everything that I needed him to play, or what she wanted him to play. He didn't fit that group. So when I got James, I said, I met him and I was like, yo, I set up a rehearsal to meet him. Well, he had a space. He used to use King Django's space, so he would rehearse down there. And I said, "Yo, look, play me a ska beat." Played that. So play me a reggae beat. Played that. Play me a swing beat. Played that. I said, "You're hired." That's it. I said, "I'm gonna go drink some tea with this young lady right here because she's not feeling too well. So I'm gonna go sit down with her and drink some tea." That's what we did. And I was like, "That's it." Got him right away. Yeah.
Nice.
And then I think with everyone else, it was, and he said, "Oh, I got a bass player for you." I'm like, "All right, cool." Didn't tell me it was a female or anything like that. He just said he got a bass player that they're really good. I'm like, "All right, cool." I guess he wanted to spring it on me. And then Anna came. All right, cool. We got another guitar player. We put an ad in the paper and we got a guitar player and he was playing. He was brilliant. All right, so I'm like, "Here, I'm gonna play this song for you." We was playing it in the background while he was tuning up. It's like, "I'm gonna play this song for you, and then you know, you see if you learn it." He says, "Oh, I got it already." He said, "What?" I said, "No, yeah, I got it already. I heard it already." Played shits up in the air verbatim. Boom, 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 boom. I was like, "Yo, this guy is hired." Hired.
What was the song you played him?
Shits up in the air. Shits up in the air. There was so Pilfers had a few different musicians, right? Before we actually became the group. I started off with a horn section, right? A horn section, different guitar player. Before I even brought to the band, I went down to Boston where Vinny lived because that's how we actually connected. His girlfriend was my ex-girlfriend. She says, "Yo, he wants to talk to you or whatever." He says, "Yo, man, if you need some help doing your demo, come down here and I'll help you with your demo." And I was like, "All right." And she came back on the phone. She was like, "Yeah, he don't think you can sing though." I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "Okay," because he hears me live. He heard me live with the Toasters, and he wasn't really paying attention to me. And when I was, I was, probably just doing the chatting part to whatever song was going on, So he only heard that, and he never spoke to me all the time we would play. Never spoke, never said a word. Went down there, sang a couple of songs, and sang, not just chat. I sang some songs, and then he called me up a little bit after that. He goes, "Yo, so I'm leaving BIM." I said, "Oh, I hear you." He goes, "Yeah, and I'm thinking of moving to New York City." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, New York City, leaving BIM. I live at Toasters. What you saying?" "What you saying, man?" I said, "What you saying?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah. Let's wait. Let's see what you can do. Let's see what you can put together." So then I put together these guys. James and Anna came, and when I left after we got that nice, great guitar player. I went back to England, because again, I'm always in England. And I came back. The guy was gone, and a new guitarist was there. I was like, "What the fuck is going on? Where's the other guy?" "Oh no, he didn't work out. Got this guy here." So what do you mean he didn't work out? So yeah, we switched it up, and then we got Nick. It's it's a great, 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 great combination. We put together the band, and we played within 2 weeks after really forming the band. 2 weeks was our first show, and we had a set.
Oh wow.
Open for the Blue Beats. Yeah, it was, dude. We made money. We took some money, and we went and made cassettes to
Nice.
sell. We made enough cassettes, and we sold enough cassettes to have half of the money for our first self-titled. That's with shirts. I mean, it was over a time period, right? So we did shirts, stickers, buttons, patches, all those $1 items, and we made enough to make a CD. Then we was fortunate enough to get a loan from a venue owner. We played his spot, and he was like, "Yo, so when you guys gonna come out with a CD?" I was like, "Yo, we're almost there. We got half of the money now, but you need like $2,000." He goes, "I'll give it to you." I'm like, "What?"
Just like that.
Just like that.
What venue was that?
That was the Marlin in no, probably sorry. It was the Catch in Toms River in New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah. So what he did first, I'll tell you what he did. When I called him up and I said, "Yo, John, I got a new band." He goes, "Yeah, it's your band." I was like, "Yeah, it's my band." And he goes, "All right." He says, "Well, I can't let you play right now." It was wintertime. He says, what I want you to do is I want you to come to the Marlin. That was his. He owned a nightclub, and he owned a restaurant separate from each other, right? So he says, "Come to the Marlin." That was his restaurant, and he had us perform for the staff. He paid us though, but he had us. It was like our audition. That was our audition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we played for the staff, and they loved it. And he was like, "Okay." So then he started bringing us to the main club. He brought us to the main club, and we started performing out there. It was good vibe. And he said, "All right, so I'll lend you this money, and you just pay me back, okay?" Thank you, John Batista. So we took that money, and we finished the record, Tin Pan Alley, and we finished it. We finished the record, man.
Yeah.
It was great.
So Adam mentioned this earlier in the interview. The influences of the Pilfers, the two CDs, very eclectic, and I think it kind of stands on its own. In that time period, these different kind of influences that you're putting into the songs. Now, I think like a good example of that is when you were in the Toasters, you wrote or brought in the song "Legal Shot," right?
Yeah.
And then you redid that for Pilfers.
Yeah.
Now you listen to the Pilfers version. It's like I like the Toasters version, but the Pilfers version is way more interesting musically. Like you have, like I think it's more indicative of like kind of what you guys were doing. Like it was like the Toasters was a little more straightforward, a little more pop, but Pilfers has all this other stuff in there too.
Yeah. It's the influence of, I would say it's not just myself, because I'm the reggae guy. I'm definitely the dancehall guy. When I play ska, like say I'm gonna give you even a different one from that. I would turn my dancehall songs into ska songs.
Oh yeah.
So if you hear, if I don't know how much of the songs you know, but if you've ever heard "Show No Fear," right?
Yeah.
That's a dancehall song. I just flipped it. You see, and you see the rhythm of my voice. You could be bigger, better. I that was a dancehall song, and I manipulated the bass line, which is the heart of dancehall. I manipulated the bass line to the rhythm of my singing.
Mhm.
So, and I was not just a singer in dance. So I was what was called sing J, which is the combination of singing and DJing, or singing and rapping. So it's rhythmic. It's as rhythmic as a rapper. I mean, yeah, it's as rhythmic as a rapper, but melodic as a singer.
Mm.
Hmm.
So those elements, I would put them inside the songs. That's how you get some of those crazy rhythms and stuff.
Yeah, and then so I guess you must have the elements of the other members' stuff too, right?
Yeah,
What they're
exactly.
bringing to the table. Yeah.
Exactly. See, now Nick is a punk rock, straight up. Nick is a punk rock. So when you hear, like, I don't know if you heard Chihuahua Wen, right? Chihuahua Len.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
Great
and you've
record.
heard,
Yeah.
have you heard Mr. Exploiter?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Anyway, right? So that was a fast song. That was that was he played the riff for me. I said, yo, 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 yo.
You got to slow this down.
That's like, slow it down, brother. Slow it down. Slow it down. Same thing with Chihuahua Ling, the title song. Like, I'm just like, slow the riff down, bro. Slow it down. Come on. Because I'm not gonna chase the track. I'm like, because he's straight punk rock, and that's he's got it. I'm like, yo, easy, easy, easy. So we slow it down, and it becomes a reggae track. It becomes our reggae track. It's like heavy with the riff, and then throw the horn line on top of it. And I got to shout out my ex-girl for that. She told me to do that. She's like, well, you can't. I played the Mr. Exploiter first, and she's like, yeah, but you got to put the horn on top of that. I was like, okay. I was like, okay, yeah, okay. So, yo, Vinny, I need you to just blow on top of this part right here. And he goes, yeah. And that became our signature, Vinny blowing over the heavy riffs.
Vinny, and you can hear his work obviously in the Bim Scala Bim catalog, but very, very good and very unique trombone player, I would say.
I would say so too.
So you wrote the song "Generation." I'd love to hear about what inspired the song, because you also released a video like in 2015.
Yeah, finally.
I mean, yeah. So can you talk a little bit about this song and where it came from? When you wrote it in the mid '90s.
All right. So my thought pattern, I was like, oh, we could use this for a Pepsi commercial. I was like, yeah, next generation. Yeah, that was the ad that you'd see Pepsi, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, next generation. I was like, yeah, this could be a Pepsi commercial. So I started out with that for the Pepsi commercial. But then, when you're starting to write, actually, I wrote this one with Nick. This was the first, I think, our first collaboration we wrote. So I had the Say Next. I had the hook, and I had the verses, but he started changing the chords here and there. He was like changing the chords to make it. Cause I'm a 2-chord guy, or maybe a 1-chord guy. I think I'm a 1-chord guy, and he would just change the aspect of the song. So we worked it all out, and the thought pattern again is me. I'm always thinking about the conditions of mankind.
Yeah.
I have that. I guess that's like what would they call those things? Something in that. What's not the horseshoe, right? It's something like that, limbo, right? But it's something that I always have in my background, like because of my relationship with let's say with white people, right?
Yeah.
My relationship because I'm always it's like I'm between two worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
You know what I mean? How I was brought up and how I live. I'm always caught between that two lines there. Like, damn, I see the atrocities that white people do to black people. I see the reaction of black people, how they feel. But I'm like, damn, why can't we just, see it for what it is? It's not them. It's the people above us, man. That's causing all of this drama here.
Mm-hmm.
And they just have their hands like puppet masters in it, and they do it and they excite you and make you get angry and make you go through all of this shit. It's not like the common man. And then stuff that happens on the street level, then it just blows over to media, and the media blows it up, and it's like, you start seeing the pictures of like it's the '60s all over again. It's like ridiculous. So I always have those kind of thoughts about how man could be, and hoping that this would be better when we get a little older.
Yeah. When you when you released the video of it in
Yeah,
2015, that was a reaction though to the as these sort of police beatings were becoming more public, right?
yeah. It was like, what the hell? We released it um only because most people. I mean, I got some comments from some friends, and like they was like, "Yo, dude, that song is powerful," but they've been dancing that song for like 20 years
Mm-hmm.
and never really realized what I was saying. Like they was like, "Yo, I didn't even know what you were saying back then. All I heard was Next Generation, and like it was a ska song where we were skanking and we would drink." So it was, you know, for me to write a song is to leave a piece of myself behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I wrote this song for my son. It's called One Day. It's on our first record. Because normally, within my community, you don't live past the age of 25, 27, pushing it. I was told I was going to be killed by 17. This is by an adult. He told me that I was going to be killed by 17 or in jail. That was the path that he thought I was going to be taking, from whatever path I was on at the time. So I wanted to make a statement to make sure that, my son knew that his pops wasn't really a knucklehead. He just had knucklehead tendencies.
It's a fine line.
It's a fine line. It's a fine line.
I read an interview that you did once where you said that you were on a mission to unite black and white people.
Yeah, I mean, you see what I'm saying, right? The
Yeah.
worlds that I live in, because I've always like you'll hear me in England. I sound totally different because my circles is all aristocrat. Like really, it's not hood, it's aristocrat. So then I come over here, I'm hood. The dichotomy is crazy. Like seriously, like I was telling a friend of my mom's the other day when I was in England. I was like, you don't understand. I go over there, and there's this preconceived notion about me already when I go around my mom. They don't know me, but they know some of my siblings, and they're not as kind to my mom as or loving that as they should be. But they're just finding themselves too. But me now, I get all of the backlash because they don't know me. They're just figuring I'm just like everyone else that's around her. So I was like, you guys, I said, I know, because I had to bury my mother 2017. And I had to, I was there. I was there for the journey. Thank God I had the privilege of spending all that time with her and just, walking her through the whole pearly gates.
Hmm.
And I, after like 2 years, maybe 3 years, I went back to England, and I saw her friends, and I was like, and we sat when we met at this cafe. I said, I know you guys don't know me, and I said, I know you already had preconceived notions about me, because when I was around, there was all this kind of you felt like you weren't supposed to be here. I could feel the warmth from my mom, of course, but those people, it was like, here he comes, like circling like I'm circling like a buzzard, waiting to pick off her bones. I got that vibe from them, and I told them, I was like, yeah, I know you guys had this preconceived notion of me already. I said, but you really don't know the relationship that she and I had. I would talk to her all the time via phone, whether I'm in England or not. So they didn't know the closeness that we were. When she She had an appendicitis one time, and I was like, oh, you know, she didn't know what it was. She just like, oh, I'm going into the ambulance. And that time we was using Blackberries. I'm like, okay, you're going into the ambulance. Then I get a next text. Oh, I'm going into the theater. I'm like, what the hell? You're in the ambulance and you're going to the theater? Okay. Then I said, something in my head said, think English, Mark.
Yeah.
Think English. Theater. Oh, she's gone to the operating room. I jumped on that damn plane. And I was like, yo, I got to get back to England right now. But they don't understand. They didn't understand the closeness of her. So going back there, and I'm like, okay, I'm proper. I'm very English. I'm very aristocratic. Then I come over here. What's good, my dude? It's like, it's just. I say, and I told him, I said, you guys don't really understand where I'm coming from. I know, and you have all these notions, but you know now. You know now.
I mean, we all kind of inhabit those different worlds where you have to code switch and talk different depending on who you're dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. Some will understand, some won't, because not everyone has that opportunity to switch, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember when I was a kid and I was telling this dude I was going to England. He's like, "Damn, man." it's sad, right? It's sad, right? But he was like, "Damn, man, I wish I could go somewhere."
Oh.
But all he knows is here.
Yeah.
All he knows was here and the hood. There was no place for him to get out to go see a family member. Everything was right there in the hood. So I knew I had a privilege,
Yeah.
I had a privilege. Even when I was denied the privilege, I had a privilege because I came from somewhere else. I saw things differently. I could see the trappings and escape the trappings, where others was just like in deep, couldn't see it. It's just what it was.
Yeah.
I want to ask about so the Pilfers, your second record, you guys got signed to Mojo.
Yes, we did.
So I've always been really curious about that because the other bands on Mojo were Real Big Fish, Goldfinger, Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
Mm-hmm. All successful.
And then, aside from maybe how big they were, just sound wise, Pilfers to me doesn't quite
fit.
Doesn't quite fit.
I think what it was, we were being cheered by Real Big Fish.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I got to give it to them, because they saw us, and they saw the response of the audience to us. They saw us in New York, and we opened up for them, and the crowd swarmed the stage. And it was so new in our forming. We didn't even have a CD. We just had cassettes selling. And he was like, he sent over his booking agent, which later on became our manager. And he goes, Randy goes, yo, Real Big Fish they're going on a Warped Tour and they want to take you on tour after they come off the Warped Tour. I'm like, all right, cool. He said, you got a CD? I said, no, but we will by that time. So there was a race to make a CD. and I tell you, it was all, it's a combination of every other ska band that hadn't been signed that helped us along the way.
Yeah.
And Real Big Fish that got us signed.
That's good. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, they were a very poppy band, and
but Aaron, he's a champion of I would say not just a champion, he has an eye for talent.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. And he's very supportive. He's very supportive to all new bands, old bands he liked that may not have gotten the right shine. He's just like, yo, I love this music and I want you guys to come on tour. That's anybody. That's not just myself. That's like anybody who he likes and he wants them to come on tour. It doesn't have to be like, oh, this is my old friend. I want them to come on tour with me. It's like he goes outside of his own circles to bring people in.
That's great.
Good dude.
So, okay, so you have this new record, Days Gone By. Is this the official debut Coolie Ranx full length?
Yes.
Okay. Was this something that was in the works for a long time, or I'm curious what led to this?
COVID. That goddamn COVID.
There's got to be a silver lining to it. This can be it right here.
There is definitely, listen, COVID. I've had songs, right, and I made demos, and I just, this is before the age of digital. I made demos and I had songs, and I was gonna put out a solo project and like years ago, and I never had to because I had my music from Pilfers, right? But during COVID, I was able to get my hand on my old hard drive, which was destroyed, but I got some nice COVID bread, and I sent it to a place where I could retrieve all of my information. Thank you, COVID.
Oh, and it worked? Every time I know somebody's done that, it hasn't worked.
It worked, man. It worked like a champ. And I heard songs that I hadn't heard in like years. So I revisited a bunch of those songs. I brought in new musicians, played some music over it, brought in singers. And then, I also had recorded some new songs, which I was going to put out. So we went back in the studio. I revisited those songs. Then I sent it off to someone else that could actually mix them to perfection. I sent it off to John Avila.
Yeah.
Same guy that mixed Chwala Lang from Oingo Boingo.
Yeah.
I called him, I begged him. I was like, John, I'm sorry, John, for just screwing up your name. I begged him. I was like, yo, John, could you mix these songs for me? Of course I had some COVID money, so I was like, yo, I got some money, but I didn't have that crazy, like $100,000, $150,000 budget again. So like, John, can you just mix this one? So I made sure I paid him on time, and he mixed my songs, and he got me a great master, a guy that's mastered songs, and he mastered the crap out of it. His name is Ian Sefcik, and he works for like Capital, or he used to, or whatever, but he's like top notch, right? And I gave it to him, and after John gave me the mixes, I was loving the mixes, but after I got the masters, I was like, oh my god. I was like, having an orgasm over here. I was like, oh my god, it's cool. I was loving it.
Screaming your own name.
Screaming my own name. So I got them back, and I was so excited. I mean, I just did a video, my first video too. I just did a solo video, and it's going to be released with the single.
Which song?
And
Incredible.
Wow. Yep. Yeah, it's I was always fearful of doing videos because I thought I would look stupid. I don't think I look stupid in this one. I mean, the public will tell me. There might be some parts I look stupid, but I don't think I look stupid. Like all of it.
How do you film it, the video?
With cameras.
I mean, did you get like a friend film it, or did you get like somebody who you had already done something that you really liked?
Yeah, I got a friend that actually does filming, like
All
video
right.
and stuff.
What's your friend's name? You gotta give a shout out. Come on.
I just call him Mike D.
Shout out Mike D.
Not the other Mike D though. This Mike D.
His real name is Mike D'Amato.
Nice.
D'Amato. Yeah. I just call him Mike D. It's very easy.
And so the video shoot's just you and him filming you?
No.
You did some other stuff?
He had one other camera shooting me, and another guy was like he was directing something. So there was a couple of he had his crew with him.
Nice.
And I said to him on the video, so everyone gets their credit, because I don't want to leave anybody out, because it can be a very sticky business.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they don't get money, credit is always important. Is more important as it's more important than money. I think if you get your credit, just like, yo, this is the guy that held the camera, this is the guy that said stop, go ahead. Everyone should get their credit. So
yeah,
I made them put their credits on the video, and I made them put the musicians' credits on the video too, kind of like how they do it at the end of the films.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure everybody gets that. So you don't see that on videos. You're just like, yeah, I'm a star. So I thought, if you have when it's closing, just run their names down and give them the credit.
Nice.
So you're advertising the album as raggacore, which I love, by the way. I love the term. Have you been using that term for your music for a while?
I've been using it for forever.
Since Pilfers?
Yep. And if anyone who tries to take it, just know I trademarked it. So don't try it.
Unless you paid up on your protection money, then maybe.
Unless you paid up on your protection money, because we will extort you.
Thank you so much for listening to In Defense of Ska. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe to the podcast wherever you normally stream or download episodes. If you haven't already, grab a copy of my book, In Defense of Ska, available at clashbooks.com. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. It's at In Defense of Ska. And please consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/indefenseofska. You will get monthly bonus episodes, extended interviews and commentary per episode, and access to the In Defense of Ska Discord. In Defense of Ska would not be possible without the great team that tirelessly works on it every week. So you should go check out their other projects as well. Co-host Adam Davis has an amazing band called Omnigon. Give them a follow on Instagram and Twitter. It's simply at Omnigon. And our editor, Chris Reeves, has a phenomenal record label and podcast called Ska Punk International. For more information, go to skapunkinternational.com. And if you've ever enjoyed one of the highly specific In Defense of Ska memes floating around the interwebs, it was likely the work of The Bands I Like Only Charge $18. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And on that note, we leave you by saying, Ska now more than ever.
Flip and the Combined Effort is a band from Arlington, Texas. Their music combines ska punk and hip hop. Their new EP is out on May 2nd. It's called Hi, Is This Ska's Mom? Look for it on Spotify. The EP's theme is about the trials and tribulations of being a teacher. This is their song, This Could Have Been an Email. Flip and the Combined Efforts are throwing a show at Division Brewing in Arlington, Texas on May 6th. It's Teacher Appreciation Night. The first beer is free with a teacher ID. The proceeds from the event will go to pay for music lessons for kids in need. Go to linktree/flipinthece for more info. If you want to advertise with us, email us at indefenseofska@gmail.com.